Level 1. The Human. Spider-Man begins at Level 1 with Peter Parker operating at his most grounded version before he fully understands the extent of his abilities or unlocks their true potential. At this level, Peter possesses enhanced reflexes, proportionate strength, surface adhesion, and accelerated healing, but not yet at the heights he later achieves. His webbing is still mechanically produced, his spider sense is less refined, and his combat awareness functions more like instinctive reactions than strategic precognition. What defines Level 1 is incomplete control. Peter can lift cars but not yet sustain prolonged superhuman exertion. His spider sense warns him of immediate danger, but not in a predictive or strategic way. His agility surpasses Olympians, but without the fluid efficiency he later displays. This is Spider-Man learning the limits of his power, discovering how far he can push himself, and developing the mechanical web technologies that become synonymous with his identity. At this stage, Peter is still recognized as a street-level hero, capable of defeating armed criminals, small groups of enhanced opponents, and early supervillains, but not yet the Spider-Man who can challenge global threats or cosmic adversaries. His decision-making, emotional resilience, and scientific confidence are all still developing. Peter's greatest asset at this level is his adaptability, not overwhelming power. Level 1 establishes Spider-Man as a hero defined not by raw ability, but by the combination of intellect, reflex, and the early foundations of responsibility. It is the beginning of his transformation from a gifted teenager into one of Marvel's most versatile and scalable characters. Level 2. The Enhanced Spider-Man, fully matured strength, reflexes, and spider sense. Level 2 represents the fully matured version of Spider-Man, the point where Peter Parker evolves from a gifted but inexperienced teenager into a physically optimized metahuman, operating at the peak of his natural mutation. At this level, Peter's physiology stabilizes, granting him strength, speed, reflexes, and durability far beyond any human baseline, but still within the boundaries of a biological mutation rather than cosmic or mystical augmentation. A fully developed Spider-Man can lift many tons with sustained effort, accelerate faster than most enhanced beings, and generate combat reflexes so precise that his body reacts to danger before conscious thought. His wall crawling is no longer a simple adhesive trick. It becomes a finely tuned biological mechanism, allowing him to control molecular attraction across any surface with precision down to individual fingertips. These abilities are not static. They adjust dynamically based on situational stress, making Peter's physical performance highly adaptable. The spider sense reaches its most reliable natural state here. Instead of being a vague warning signal, it becomes a near precognitive danger response system capable of tracking multiple threats simultaneously, identifying trajectories, and predicting harmful outcomes before they manifest. This transforms Peter into a combatant who can navigate chaotic environments, dodge projectiles at impossible angles, and counterattacks faster than opponents can perceive their own movements. His agility also reaches levels that appear superhuman even by enhanced standards. Peter can contort his body mid-air, maintain balance under extreme rotational forces, and shift momentum instantly, all of which make his fighting style nearly impossible to replicate. Combined with his intellect, one of his most underrated assets, Spider-Man becomes a specialist in analyzing enemy patterns, adapting under pressure, and engineering improvised solutions during combat. What defines Level 2 is that Spider-Man's power is complete but contained. He is operating at the full extent of his baseline mutation, but he has not yet crossed into transformations that alter his biology, consciousness, or connection to higher-order forces. At this level, Peter Parker is one of the most capable street-level and city-level heroes in Marvel. A metahuman whose abilities surpass nearly every enhanced combatant, yet remain grounded in his original mutation. Level 3. The Totemic Spider-Man, mystical connection to the spider totem and elevated physicality. Level 3 marks the transition from purely biological mutation to mystical empowerment. Here, Spider-Man is no longer defined only by the radioactive spider bite, but by his deeper connection to the spider totem, an ancient supernatural force that exists across the multiverse. This concept reframes Spider-Man not simply as a science-based hero, but as part of a long lineage of spider avatars chosen to maintain the balance between hunters and prey on a cosmic scale. In this level, Peter's physical abilities rise well beyond the limits of standard mutation. His strength, which already exceeds several tons in earlier stages, becomes almost unpredictable, spiking dramatically during moments of spiritual alignment or instinctive survival. His reflexes reach a precognitive edge, allowing him to avoid attacks that move faster than normal perception. And his spider sense, no longer just a danger detection system, evolves into a quasi-mystical awareness capable of detecting threats across distances, dimensions, and even spiritual planes. The totemic interpretation also explains why Spider-Man has always been targeted by hunters like Morlun and the Inheritors. To them, Peter is not just a hero, he is a totemic prey animal, a living embodiment of spider essence, whose empowerment threatens the cosmic food chain. Their ability to sense his life force confirms that Spider-Man carries something more ancient and powerful than the effects of a radioactive mutation. This level also includes Spider-Man's most mystical transformations, such as shedding physical limitations, entering chrysalis-like states, regenerating from near death, and strengthening his connection to the web of life and destiny. At this stage, Peter begins to understand that his powers are partially guided by instinctive roles, hunter, protector, predator, that the totem uses to maintain cosmic balance. What defines Level 3 is the hybridization of science and myth. Spider-Man's powers no longer operate solely on biological rules. His strength, senses, and healing fluctuate based on metaphysical resonance. His potential becomes vast because it is tied not only to the physical world, but to a mystical lineage that spans countless worlds and incarnations. This is the stage where Spider-Man becomes more than a mutant accident. He becomes a chosen avatar of something older than heroes themselves. Level 4. The Reborn Spider-Man, Organic Webbing, Enhanced Physiology, and Totemic Reemergence. Level 4 marks the point where Spider-Man undergoes one of the most dramatic transformations in his entire history, a full biological rebirth that elevates him beyond his traditional power set. This version of Peter Parker emerges after a fatal confrontation, where his body shuts down and effectively dies. Instead of ending, his physiology undergoes a complete metamorphosis, guided by the deeper totemic forces that have always been connected to his origin. The result is a Spider-Man who is biologically closer to the pure totem than ever before, displaying new abilities, heightened instincts, and a redefined relationship with his powers. One of the most notable changes at this level is the emergence of organic webbing. Rather than relying on mechanical web shooters, Peter's body now produces silk naturally, stored in specialized glands within his forearms. This shift indicates that the totemic essence is asserting itself more directly, giving Spider-Man an ability that reflects the natural traits of a true spider. This organic silk is durable, highly tensile, and easier for Peter to deploy instinctively, eliminating the limitations of technology, ammunition, or malfunction. His physical capabilities also experience a major elevation. Peter's strength, agility, and reaction time increase beyond his previous limits, placing him firmly above advanced superhuman levels. His ability to cling to surfaces becomes more efficient, allowing for smoother movement and stronger adhesion. His healing factor becomes significantly faster, enabling him to recover from injuries that previously would have incapacitated him. These enhancements make him more resilient, more adaptive, and more capable of reacting to high-threat scenarios. The spider sense evolves dramatically as well. It becomes sharper, more predictive, and more attuned to the environment. Instead of functioning solely as a danger alarm, it begins to anticipate movements, track threats with greater clarity, and warn Peter of complex multi-vector dangers. It becomes less like a reflex and more like a proto-precognitive sense tied to the totem itself. Perhaps the most meaningful change is Peter's shifting relationship with his identity. This version of Spider-Man is not just a man with powers. He is a chosen vessel of the totemic force, something he has resisted and questioned for most of his life. The rebirth forces him to acknowledge that his abilities are not random. They are part of a larger mystical lineage that connects him to ancient entities, predators, and cosmic weavers that shape the Spider-Verse. Level 4 Spider-Man stands as a blend of science, mysticism, and evolution. He is no longer simply improved, he is redefined, operating with powers that come from both nature and destiny. Level 5. The Spider-God Empowered. Peter Parker, Cosmic Web Access and Multiversal Awareness. At Level 5, Spider-Man evolves beyond physical mutation, science, or mystical empowerment. This stage represents the moment Peter Parker becomes directly connected to the great web of life and destiny, the cosmic structure that governs every spider totem across the multiverse. Unlike earlier transformations which enhanced his body or instincts, this level expands Peter's awareness, perception, and cosmic influence, placing him among the highest-ranking totemic entities. The key shift here is not strength, but scope. Peter's consciousness becomes linked to the Great Web, allowing him to perceive events across timelines and alternate universes. His spider sense evolves into a form of multiversal precognition, capable of detecting disruptions in destiny or threats to other spider totems beyond his own Earth. In this state, Peter no longer senses only immediate danger. He senses cosmic imbalance. This makes him one of the few spider beings able to identify threats like the Inheritors, Morlun, or reality-level predators long before they manifest physically. Physically, a spider-god-empowered Peter displays strength and agility beyond any standard Spider-Man form. His durability increases to the point where he can withstand impacts that would normally cripple even enhanced spider totem users. His reflexes transcend conventional speed, guided by a layered spider sense that blends instinct with cosmic insight. His strikes become empowered by totemic force, allowing him to damage entities far beyond human scale. What sets this level apart is Peter's connection to destiny itself. When acting in alignment with the Great Web, he can manipulate threads of fate, influence the probability of survival for other spider beings, and operate in multiple realms of existence simultaneously. His presence becomes mythic, not in a metaphorical sense, but as a literal stabilizing force for the Spider-Verse. He is no longer just a hero of New York. He is a guardian of the multiversal order. Importantly, this transformation does not erase Peter's humanity. Even as a spider god, he retains the empathy, responsibility, and moral foundation that define him. In fact, his elevated role becomes more meaningful because he approaches it with humility rather than divine entitlement. This is what distinguishes Peter from many cosmic-level heroes. His power increases exponentially, but his values remain grounded. Level 5 Spider-Man represents the moment Peter becomes more than a hero, more than a totem, and more than a symbol. He becomes a multiversal anchor, a being whose very existence reinforces the stability of every spider across every world. Level 6. The Spider Totem Apex, fully realized totemic form and dimensional manifestation. At Level 6, Peter Parker reaches a state where the spider totem is no longer an influence, enhancement, or dormant force. It becomes fully awakened, fully integrated, and fully expressed through him. This level represents the apex of Spider-Man's mystical and biological evolution, where Peter embodies the pure essence of the spider totem in both physical and metaphysical forms. Unlike previous stages where Peter draws from the totem or channels it temporarily, the spider totem apex is a permanent transcendence, aligning his consciousness, instincts, and biology with the deepest layers of the web of life and destiny. At this level, Peter's physical capabilities evolve far beyond conventional superhuman metrics. His strength, agility, durability, and reflexes no longer scale with training or experience. They scale with totemic intensity, allowing him to react with near-predatory precision. His spider sense becomes a fully realized precognitive field, not just a danger signal. He perceives threats as patterns within the web, seeing outcomes before physical movement even begins. This grants him a combat advantage that approaches omnidirectional awareness, making evasion and counterattacks nearly instantaneous. His totemic biology also intensifies, granting him heightened regenerative capabilities, deeper metabolic control, and an instinctual awareness of other totemic beings. He can detect their presence, read their spiritual resonance, and understand their motives through the web's connective structure. When confronted with mystical predators or other totems, Peter responds with a level of natural authority that reflects his position as a dominant node within the web. Beyond physicality, the spider totem apex grants a unique power: dimensional manifestation. Peter can appear across layers of the web without fully crossing dimensions, acting as both an observer and an influencer of events across parallel worlds. This does not mean full multiversal travel. Rather, he becomes a totemic echo, able to exert presence where the web is strained, threatened, or destabilized. When necessary, the apex state lets him enforce totemic balance, defend the integrity of the great web, or confront beings that threaten its structure on a cosmic level. This form is not a cosmic upgrade like the Unipower or Enigma Force. It is a mystical evolution tied directly to Peter's identity as the primary spider totem. The power does not replace who he is. It expands what he can become. He remains Peter Parker, intelligent, ethical, grounded, but layered with the instinctual knowledge, predatory precision, and mystical authority of a true totemic apex. The spider totem apex represents the highest point Peter can reach without stepping into full cosmic ascension. It is the culmination of every transformation before it, where biology, mysticism, instinct, and identity align into a singular totemic expression. At this tier, Spider-Man is no longer just a superhero. He is a guardian of the web itself, a being whose presence resonates across realities even when he never physically leaves his own. Level 7. The Cosmic Spider. Enigma Force, Captain Universe Peter Parker, and fully transcendent web conduit. At the highest point of Spider-Man's power hierarchy stands the Cosmic Spider, a form achieved when Peter Parker becomes the host of the Enigma Force, also known as the power behind Captain Universe. This transformation represents the absolute peak of what Spider-Man can become, far beyond mutation, beyond totemic destiny, and beyond physical biology. In this form, Peter stops functioning as a conventional hero. He becomes a cosmic conduit, capable of manipulating fundamental forces and interacting with the web of life and destiny from a position of universal authority. The Enigma Force is not simply an energy source. It is a semi-sentient universal constant that selects specific hosts in times of extreme cosmic imbalance. When it chooses Peter, his physiology, perception, and capabilities increase exponentially. His spider sense evolves into full-spectrum cosmic awareness, allowing him to sense universal threats, detect hidden forces, and perceive fluctuations in the fabric of reality. He no longer reacts to danger, he anticipates it before it manifests. Physically, Captain Universe Peter Parker operates on a level completely disconnected from his prior limitations. His strength reaches incalculable levels, easily surpassing God-tier beings. His durability becomes virtually absolute, enabling him to survive black hole-level gravitational forces, antimatter fields, and energy blasts capable of destroying planets. His speed elevates into the relativistic range, allowing him to move and think faster than most cosmic entities can process. His webbing transforms as well, now made of pure cosmic energy, capable of binding beings who exist outside standard physical laws. What makes this level distinct from all earlier tiers is Peter's complete connection to the web of life and destiny, while simultaneously being empowered by the Enigma Force. The web becomes more than a metaphysical network. It becomes a navigable structure, allowing him to appear across dimensions, reinforce collapsing realities, or intervene in multiversal events. He operates as both a champion and stabilizer, able to correct disruptions threatening the entire Spider-Verse. Peter's morality also evolves at this level. The Enigma Force does not override his conscience, it enhances it. Unlike many cosmic hosts who lose individuality, Peter retains full emotional depth, ensuring his cosmic interventions remain guided by a responsibility rather than power. This combination of cosmic authority and grounded humanity produces a type of protector unrivaled in the Marvel cosmology. The Cosmic Spider is the final expression of Peter Parker's potential, from radioactive accident to totemic avatar, to chosen vessel of one of the universe's oldest powers. No other Spider-Man form equals the synergy of cosmic insight, multiversal awareness, and raw omnifunctional capacity achieved here. At this level, Spider-Man is not just a hero, he becomes a universal guardian, operating at the intersection of science, magic, fate, and cosmic destiny.